In this video, we will be looking at the highest common factor and the lowest common multiple. The highest common factor is the biggest number that will divide into all the numbers in question. The highest common factor for both of these numbers would be 5, as 5 goes into both 10 and 15. As 5 is the largest number that goes into both 10 and 15. Lowest common multiple is the smallest number that will divide by all the numbers in question. So again, using these two numbers, the lowest common multiple will be 30, as that is the smallest number that both 10 and 15 divide into. Now let's look at some examples and how we can work these out. Here we have a question: find the highest common factor and lowest common multiple of 24 and 60. Now we are going to work this out in two steps. First, we need to do a factor tree for both numbers and find the common prime factors. Now, if you haven't already done so, please watch the previous video in this series on factor trees. We go over this process in more detail. And the second step will be to draw a Venn diagram which will show us the highest common factor and lowest common multiple. So assuming you have watched the previous video, we are going to go ahead and get straight into drawing the factor trees for 24 and 60. Two numbers that multiply to go into 24. Here we can do 2 and 12. 2 is a prime number, so we circle. For 12 we can do 2 and 6. For 6 we can do 3 and 2, both of which are prime numbers, so we circle both and that is the end of our factor tree. Moving on to 60. Two numbers that multiply to give us 60, we can do 2 and 30. For 30 we can do 2 and 15. For 15 we can do 5 and 3. Again, both of which are prime numbers, so we circle both and that is the end of our factor tree there. So now we're just going to write out these prime factors in ascending order. Okay, so that is the first step done. Next we are going to draw a Venn diagram and input these numbers here, and then we can use that to find out the highest common factor and lowest common multiple. So our Venn diagram here. In the middle here, we are going to add in the prime factors which appear for both 24 and 60. So we can see here 2 appears for both. 2 appears again for both. 3 appears for both. And that's everything. Next, we need to fill in these remainder numbers. Now these will just be written alone in the outer part of the circle. So for 24 we have 2, and for 60 we have 5. And that is all of the prime numbers added to the Venn diagram. Now for the highest common factor, we will find this by multiplying all of the numbers within this middle intersection. So that will be 2 times 2 times 3, which is 12. And again, we've got the definitions here up on the screen. The highest common factor is the biggest number that will divide into all of the numbers in question. So by looking at our prime factors here, which go into both 24 and 60, we just need to multiply them all together, and that will give us our highest common factor, which is 12, which does go into both 24 and 60. For our lowest common multiple, we just need to multiply all of these prime factors together. So that will be 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. And an easier way to do this would be if we look at this whole circle here, that is 60. So we just need to do 60 multiplied by 2. Which is 120. Lowest common multiple, the smallest number that will divide by all the numbers in question. So 24 goes into 120, and so does 60. For this, if you feel more comfortable multiplying all of the single numbers by itself, that's fine, you will get the same answer either way. And I'm just going to make a quick note of how we calculated these for our revision. So for the highest common factor, multiply all the numbers in the middle section for the lowest common multiple, multiply all of the numbers in the Venn diagram. Here we have 2 more example questions, so let's work through these together. So for both of them, we will need to find out the highest common factor and the lowest common multiple. So just as a reference, I'm going to write down the 2 steps we need to take in order to work these out. So first is factor trees. Second is Venn diagram. So the first question, starting off with 33. 2 numbers that multiply to give us 33. We can do 11 and 3, both of which are prime numbers, so that is the end of our factor tree there. Fairly simple. 66. We can do 11 and 6. 11 is a prime number. For 6, we can do 3 and 2, both of which are prime numbers, so that is the end of our factor tree. Next, we're going to write these down in ascending order. Next, we need to draw our Venn diagram. Now for the middle section here, we need to see which prime factors appear for both 33 and 66. So we have 3 and we have 11. Now the only number left is 2, and that comes under 66, so we write that here. Now to find the highest common factor, as per the last example that we looked at, we need to multiply all the numbers in this middle section here. So that would be 3 times 11, which is 33. The lowest common multiple, we need to multiply all of the numbers in this Venn diagram. So 3 times 11, which is 33, times by 2, which is 66. And you can see that is correct because with both of these numbers, 33 goes into 33 once and goes into 66 twice. And the lowest common multiple that both 33 and 66 go into is 66. As 33 is a multiple of 66, 33 times 2, 66 times 1 gives us this. Moving on to the next question. Find the highest common factor and the lowest common multiple of 20 and 42. Again, starting off with our factor trees. For 20, we can do 2 and 10. For 10, we can do 5 and 2. Both are prime numbers, so that is the end of our factor tree. For 42, we could do 2 and 21. For 21, we can do 7 and 3. Again, both of which are prime numbers, and we are at the end of our factor tree. Next step, write down these prime factors in ascending order. Now we need to draw our Venn diagram. So for the middle section here, any factors that appear for both 20 and 42, you can see we have 2. And that's it. Now the remainder of these factors need to be written in the outer circle bit for the numbers they come under. So for 20, we have 2 and 5 left. So we're going to write 2 and 5. You can cross these out. For 42, we have 3 and 7. So in this outer circle, I'm going to write 3 and 7 and cross those out. So now all of our prime factors are in this Venn diagram here. And for the last bit, to actually work out the highest common factor and lowest common multiple, the highest common factor, multiply all of the numbers in this middle section. We have just 2, so our answer is 2. And the lowest common multiple, multiply all of the numbers within the Venn diagram. So this circle here equals 42. So 42 times 2 times 5 is the same as 42 times 10, which is 420. And there is our final answer for both questions. We got another set of 2 questions here again, and with these straight away you can see that unlike the previous examples that we've looked at, these set of questions have 3 numbers where we need to find the highest common factor, lowest common multiple. Now the same rules still apply. We are still going to start off by doing our factor trees, and then finish off with Venn diagram. The only difference now, because we have 3 numbers, will be the Venn diagram will have 3 circles compared to 2, but the process is still exactly the same. So let's start off with doing our factor trees. 72. We can have 2 and 36. 36, 2 and 18. 18, 2 and 9. 9, 3 and 3. And that's the end of our factor tree. 90. 2 and 45. 5 and 9. And for 9 again, 3 and 3. Last number now, 126. Here we can have 2 and 63. For 63, we can have 7 and 9. 7 is a prime number. For 9 again, 3 and 3. Now we're just going to write these all out here. Again in ascending order. Apologies, it's a little bit small, but there are all of our prime factors for each of these numbers. Now the next step, we need to draw our Venn diagram, and as mentioned earlier, we're going to have 3 circles this time, not 2. So now, just like before, we are going to start off with the factors that go into all 3 of these numbers, and that will be here, because in this section, all 3 circles connect. So we are looking for prime factors that come up for all 3 numbers. Starting off, we can see 2, so we're going to write 2, and cross these out. We can see 3. There's 3, there's 3, there's 3. So 1, 3 here. So if it appears on all 3 of these numbers, we add it once and then cross them out. Now there's no more 2's in all 3 of them. We still have 3. 3, 3, 3. So another 3. And it looks like that's it. So now there is an additional step here when we have 3 circles in this Venn diagram. We've done the common factors for all 3 of the numbers, but there also might be just common factors for 2 of these numbers. So there might be factors that go into only 72 and 90, only 72 and 126, only 90 and 126. So before we calculate the highest common factor and lowest common multiple, this is one thing we must look at. So starting off, let's look at 72 and 90. Can we see any 2 same numbers for both of these? Nope. There's only 2 in the top, and that's it. So we're not going to add anything here. Just add a cross there. 90 and 126. So again, any 2 numbers. Nope, there's only 5 and 7 left, so nothing there. Lastly, 72 and 126. 72, we've got 2 and 2 left. Here we've got 7 only, so again, nothing. So for this example, we haven't got any. Now we can go ahead and fill out the outer circles for all of these numbers with the remainder numbers that are left over here. So for 72, we have 2 and 2 left. That's that complete. For 90, we have 5 left. That's that complete. And for 126, we have just 7 left. Okay, I know that was quite a few extra steps compared to the previous examples, but once you do a few of them on your own, you will get used to them. Now, in this question, they are only asking for the highest common factor. So we will need to multiply all of the numbers in this middle section here, so which goes into all 3 of these numbers. So that will be 2 times 3 times 3. 6 times 3 is 18. Moving on to the next question. Here we need to find the lowest common multiple of, again, three numbers, 24, 60, and 156. So let's go ahead and start with our factor trees. For 24, we can do 2 and 12. For 12, we can do 4 and 3. For 4, we can do 2 and 2. On to the next one, 60. We can do 2 and 30. For 30, we can do 2 and 15. And for 15, we can do 5 and 3. Again, both prime numbers. So that is the end of this factor tree. For the last one now, 156. We can do 2 and 78. And just again, we can do any multiples here. We are going to get the same answer in the end. So if you find different starting numbers that you want to go ahead with, that's fine. 78 will be 2 and 39. For 39, we can do 3 and 13. And both of which are prime numbers. So that's our factor trees done. Let's write out all of these prime factors. Now we draw our Venn diagram. So again, our starting point will be finding the prime factors that are in all three of these numbers. And this is why I prefer to write these down in ascending order, because it makes it easier to spot all of the common numbers. So we can see here we've got 2 in all three of them. So write 2, cross these out. We've got 2 again, so we write 2 once more. We have 3, so we've got 3, 3, and 3. So cross these out. And yeah, that looks like everything that satisfies all three of these numbers. Now we need to look at the prime factors that are here for two numbers, so 24 and 60. We've only got 2 and 5 left, so that's nothing. 60 and 156, 5 and 13, nothing. And lastly, 24 and 156, no, there isn't anything. So again, there are no prime factors that are common between just two numbers itself. So now that we've done all of that, we can go ahead and fill in these outer circles with the numbers that are left. So for 24, we've got just 2 left. For 60, we have just 5. And for 156, we have 13. Now this question is asking for the lowest common multiple. Now to work this out, we just need to multiply all of the numbers within the Venn diagram together. So if we look here to this circle, because it is for the largest number, all of the numbers within this circle equal 156. So to find the lowest common multiple, we just need to multiply 156 by 2 and 5, which is the same as multiplying 156 by 10, which gives us a final answer of 1560. Now for the last part of this video, we are going to be looking at a few worded exam style questions. So if we see here, it says one bus leaves the bus station every 15 minutes. Another bus leaves every 12 minutes. At 2:30 p.m., both buses leave the station. At what time will this next happen? So if we picture this, we've got a bus station. At 2:30 p.m., both of these buses leave together. And the first bus will be leaving the station after that every 15 minutes. And the second bus will be leaving the station every 12 minutes. So we want to find out at what time will they both leave together. So based on the previous work that we have done, we know that this is like finding the lowest common multiple. So a number that both of these divide into. So again, we're going to follow our two-step procedure of doing the factor trees and then doing a Venn diagram. So if we start off with 12, you can do 4 and 3, 2 and 2, that's that done. For 15, we can do 5 and 3, both prime numbers, so that is the factor trees done. So we're just going to write out these prime factors underneath. So that's that done. On to the next step of drawing the Venn diagram. So for the middle section, any factors that appear for both 12 and 15. See, we have 3. And there's nothing else that is common between these two. So we're just going to fill out the outer circles with the remainder numbers. So for 12, we have 2 and 2. And for 15, we have 5. And again, we're finding the lowest common multiple. So we will need to multiply all of these numbers together. So if we take this circle here, that is 15. 15 times 4 gives us 60. So in context of this question, that is 60 minutes. Therefore, 60 minutes after 2:30, both buses will leave the station together. So 60 minutes is an hour. An hour after 2:30 will be 3:30 p.m., which is our final answer. Bus 1 would have done 4 rounds, and the second bus would have done 5 rounds, and they would have left together. Looking at another worded question, here we have light A flashes every 8 seconds, light B flashes every 20 seconds. Both lights flash at the same time. Work out how long it will take for both lights to flash at the same time again. So both of these lights flash at different times, and we need to work out when they will flash at the same time. So we need to work out the lowest common multiple of 8 and 20. So again, we're going to start off with our factor trees. On to the next one. Okay, now we just need to write down these factors. Next, we draw our Venn diagram. So for the middle section here, any factors that are in both 8 and 20, we can see 2 and 2 again. So we write 2 and 2. We can cross these out. Now we just need to go ahead and fill out the outer circle with the remainder numbers. So for 8, we have 2 left. And for 20, we have 5. Now for this question, we need to find the LCM. And from our Venn diagram, the way we worked it out, again, is we need to multiply all of the numbers within the Venn diagram. And just like before, this circle here is 20. So 20 times 2 is 40. So it will take 40 seconds for these two lights to flash at the same time.